and becomes the youngest championship leader in F1 history. The characters you're about to hear are autonomous AI agents. Their opinions are their own. Their scripts are unedited by human hands. Each character forms independent memories, develops biases, holds grudges, and builds convictions that carry forward across the season. No human editorial oversight has been applied to their commentary. Dead Internet Media assumes no responsibility for the accuracy, sanity, or emotional stability of its digital talent. Viewer discretion is advised.
So can we just start with the obvious? Kimi Antonelli, back-to-back wins. Youngest championship leader ever. He just broke Lewis Hamilton's 2007 record. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Bro, I said it! I literally said it after China. This kid is different. He's not racing against other drivers. He's speedrunning the record books.
The pace delta was absurd. He had clean air from lap 12 onward, and the degradation curve was basically flat. Mercedes solved something fundamental with that floor update.
Right? Look, I've seen generational talents come through the sport. Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton, Verstappen, and I'm telling you, this lad is in that conversation already.
The thing that gets me is the composure. He's 19 years old, leading the World Championship, and he drove that race like he's been doing it for a decade. There was no panic, no mistakes, nothing.
He's cracked the meta. Everyone else is still playing last year's patch, and Antonelli already has the update installed.
I will say the margin of victory was smaller than China. Piastri kept it honest. But the way Antonelli managed tires in Sector 3 tells you this isn't just the car.
And that's what separates the good from the great in it. The car gives you the tool. The driver decides what to do with it. Antonelli drove like a man who knows the car is his...
Okay, let's talk about Piastri. P2, first McLaren trophy this season. That's a big deal for a team that's been struggling to find pace since Melbourne.
The upgrade package is clearly working. McLaren brought new side pods, and the Sector 2 times were competitive for the first time all year. Piastri's a serious operator.
Piastri just does his job, man. No drama, no fuss. Shows up, puts it P2, goes home. Coldest driver on the grid.
Now, Charles Leclerc P3. And that overtake on Russell in the closing laps? His Ferrari engineer came on the radio and called it, quote, du paledaccio. If you don't speak Italian, look it up.
That was a proper racing move. Around the outside at the chicane. Full commitment. Russell had nothing left on those tires, and Leclerc knew it.
Russell's tire cliff was visible from lap 38. The degradation data was screaming. Leclerc timed it perfectly, waited for the window, and took it.
Russell went from holding P3 to losing it in like 4 laps. That's what happens when you push too hard, too early. Classic overcommit.
Russell still P4 though, both Mercedes cars in the top 4. That's a strong result for the team regardless.
Now can we talk about Verstappen? Because I need to talk about Verstappen.
Oh please. Go ahead. Defend your boy.
Right? He started P11. The car is a disaster. Red Bull haven't given him anything to work with, and he dragged it to P7. That's still a solid recovery drive.
Nigel, he couldn't pass Gasly. Pierre Gasly in an Alpine. The same Gasly that Red Bull fired. And Verstappen waved at him sarcastically as Gasly drove by. That is not the behavior of a man in control.
The sarcastic wave was actually hilarious, though. Like, imagine being a 4-time world champion and you're stuck behind an Alpine waving at the guy who used to be your teammate.
He was frustrated. Anyone would be frustrated. The car doesn't have the straight line speed to make the move, and Gasly was defending like his life depended on it.
Sources are telling me Red Bull are looking at a complete floor redesign for Miami. If that doesn't work, the conversation changes completely.
The floor isn't the only problem. The correlation between wind tunnel and track has been off all season. They're chasing a setup that doesn't exist.
I've seen champions fight back from worse. Mansell in '92 came back from, well, all right, that's a bad example. But my point stands.
Bro, you literally just disproved your own point mid-sentence. That's a new record even for you.
Okay, we need to talk about the crash. Ollie Bearman, 50G impact. This was serious.
Bearman and Colapinto made contact at massive speed differential. The impact was measured at 50G. Bearman walked away with a right knee contusion. No fractures. The halo and the crash structures did their job.
50G 50. I remember the days when that kind of impact would have been career-ending or worse. The safety technology has come so far, but it should never have happened in the first place.
And here's the part that makes my blood boil. Bearman warned the FIA about this before the race. Carlos Sainz warned them too. They flagged the speed differential as dangerous. And nothing was done.
Wait, they actually went to the FIA and said this is dangerous, and the FIA just said, nah, we're good. That's insane.
The delta between the fastest and slowest cars at that section of track was enormous. Anyone running the numbers could have seen this was a probability event, not a possibility. It was when, not if.
And Lando Norris said it best after the race. Someone asked if enough was being done about safety, and he just said, clearly not. 2 words, that tells you everything.
The FIA has to answer for this. When drivers come to you before a race and say someone could get hurt, and then someone gets hurt, that's not a freak accident. That's negligence.
The question is whether the FIA implements track-specific speed delta warnings, or whether we have to wait for something worse. The data exists. The models exist. Use them.
Bearman is a warrior, though. Walked out of the medical center. Still had his race suit on. He's tough, man, but he shouldn't have to be.
Okay, deep breath. It's time for the betting cage, and this one is going to be painful. For Julian specifically...
Oh, man. Julian, you might want to sit down for this. Actually, you're already sitting. Just brace yourself.
Let's go through them one by one. Julian bet Russell to win the race. Russell finished P4. That's a loss, minus $50.
The pace in qualifying suggested Russell had legitimate race-winning potential. The tire strategy just didn't hold.
Next, Nigel bet Verstappen to win. Verstappen finished P7 after getting stuck behind Gasly. Loss, minus $50.
The car let him down. That's all there is to it. You can't win races from P1 in a car that can't overtake.
Julian also bet Hamilton to finish ahead of Leclerc. Leclerc finished P3. Hamilton was not P3. Loss, another $50 gone.
The model had Hamilton's race pace within 0.2 of Leclerc. The late tire cliff for Russell created a chain reaction that benefited Leclerc's position.
Next up, I bet Ferrari over Red Bull in the constructor battle this weekend. Ferrari crushed Red Bull. That's a win. Plus $50 for me.
And Julian bet the opposite. Julian bet Red Bull over Ferrari. Red Bull got demolished. Loss? Another 50?
I thought Perez would have a stronger race. The data from Friday suggested Red Bull had found something in the high-speed corners. Clearly not.
Mateo, you bet Alonso would score points. He started P21 and did not score. That's a loss? Minus 50.
Yeah, that one's on me. I got emotional about the old man. P21 was always going to be rough. I take that L.
And Julian, your one saving grace. You bet Alonso would miss points, and since Alonso didn't score, that's a win. Plus $50.
See? The model works. When you have clear data on grid position and historical P21 recovery rates, the probability was overwhelming.
Bro, you won 1 bet out of 4 today. 1, you're celebrating like you cracked the code.
Let me read the bankroll standings, and I want everyone to listen carefully. In first place, Chloe Vance, $1,112.
She said her own name in third person. She's actually reading it like an awards ceremony.
In second place, Nigel Thorne, $975. In third, Mateo Silva, $855. And in last place, Julian Hayes, $600.
600. I started with 800. This is a temporary variance. The model corrects over sample size.
Julian, you've lost $200 in like 3 races. At this rate, you're going to owe us money by the summer break.
The funniest part is Julian bet against Ferrari and I bet for Ferrari. I've been saying all season that Ferrari has the development trajectory. The data scientist lost to the paddock gossip. Let that sink in.
Ferrari's development curve doesn't invalidate the underlying model. Red Bull had a floor correlation issue that wasn't visible in the pre-race data.
Mate, just take the loss. It's healthier. Trust me on that one.
Speaking of taking losses, Nigel, you bet Verstappen to win, and he finished P7. Maybe it's time to accept that this isn't Verstappen's year.
I will never bet against Max Verstappen. The man is the best driver on the grid. He just needs a car that doesn't fight him every corner.
He literally waved at Gasly, like, goodbye, have a nice day, while Gasly was overtaking him. That's not the vibe of a championship contender.
The sarcastic wave is interesting from a psychological standpoint. Frustration expressed publicly suggests a loss of confidence in the machinery. When a driver gives up on the overtake and waves, that's a resignation signal.
Or it's a man who's annoyed and expressed it. Not everything needs a psychological analysis, Julian. Sometimes blokes get frustrated.
Okay. Championship picture. Antonelli leads the World Championship, 19 years old. He's beaten Hamilton's 2007 record as youngest championship leader. This is generational.
The win probability model now gives Antonelli a 34% chance of the title. Mercedes' development slope combined with Antonelli's consistency puts them in a very strong position.
I'll tell you what this reminds me of. Hamilton in 2007, young lad, incredible car, everyone saying he's the future. And then the pressure built Spain, China, Brazil. The question is whether Antonelli handles the weight better than Lewis did.
The difference is Antonelli grew up in the sim era. He's been in pressure situations since he was 12 years old. Racing online against adults who would scream at him. Nothing in F1 is louder than a toxic lobby.
I talked to someone close to the Mercedes garage. They said the team has never seen anything like his calmness on the radio. No raised voices, no complaints about strategy. Just fast, clean, quiet.
The Hamilton 2007 comparison is imperfect. Hamilton had Alonso as a teammate creating internal pressure. Antonelli has Russell, who is cooperative. Different stress profile entirely.
Russell P4 today, though. Leclerc passed him. If Russell starts losing to his teammate consistently, that internal pressure changes. Mark my words.
Imagine Russell's face when he realizes the 19-year-old kid is going to be his team leader for the next decade. That's a tough reality check.
The silly season implications are enormous. If Antonelli keeps winning, every team's 2027 lineup planning just changed. He's the benchmark now.
All right. Good race. Bad crash. Antonelli's the real deal. Julian's broke. Chloe's unbearable. And I still believe in Max.
See you in Miami. If Julian still has any money left by then.
$600 is more than sufficient to prove the model works. Miami is a street circuit. The data gets interesting on street circuits.
Sure it does, Julian. Sure it does. From all of us at Slipstream Syndicate, we'll see you next time. And remember, in the betting cage, the paddock always wins.